Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So the UK inflation CPI readings have just come through and it was much lower than expected. But is this just a temporary blip for future inflation yet to come? Let's take a look at the data. So the CPIH reading, which includes housing, shows that from the June figure you can see there, inflation came in at 2.4%. But that seems to be a little bit of an inflection point because we can see the latest reading for July came in at 2.1%. Now, if we look at the key reasons for this, we can look at the ONS report. You can see that they said the largest upward contribution came from transport, which is 0.85 of the 2.1%. There was a change in downward contribution was footwear. So clothing and footwear became more affordable, didn't inflate as much, but secondhand car prices are still going up. Now, so mainly, let's talk about transport. Transport is naturally going to be expected. We know more people are traveling to work now, using public transports, getting their cars back out and paying for fuel. And that's what's causing the natural kind of increase there. Now, the concern here is a lot of economists and even the Bank of England said, look, we're expecting 3% inflation rates by the end of this year. We've seen what's happened in the States. We've reported that on this channel here. We can see high levels of inflation in the States. We're yet to decide if that has inflected at a peak. We saw a lower reading in the US CPI in the last reading. But that has the UK concerned that perhaps this is just a blip and we're going to head higher. So the Bank of England have given a prediction that they see inflation getting to about 3% by the end of the year. And a group of economists are now saying this could potentially be 4%. So they feel it could hit 4% before 22/early Q1 22, and then they feel it'll come back down to the Bank of England's preferred rate of 2%. Now, the reason they're concerned about this and the reason they think this is going to happen is given here in the UK, we've had so much stimulus, same as in the States. There's been furlough payments for those who have been at home. There is more cash in consumers' pockets than ever before. But like we know, there's a rich-poor divide here. So for those who cannot afford it, they're saying that a 4% inflation rate of between 3 and 4% can lead to a £700 differential in income. And for poor families, that would make a massive difference. So it's not something that can be ignored. And 3 to 4% would mean that Bank of England will need to intervene with monetary policy hikes. So that's a concern here. The Bank of England are feeling as though they're going to get to 3%. Economists are saying it looks like 4% before we head back down to 2%. And so they're almost saying this is just a temporary blip. Difficult to say until we get the next reading. We're not going to know if we're inflecting down or if indeed the 2.1 reading is a blip and we're going to head back up as people start to now emerge. The UK's done a good job of vaccinations. There's a feel of herd immunity and people seem like on the street they're going back to normality. Restaurants are busy, venues are busy, football matches are back. So we've got packed stadiums, 60, 70,000 people in the stadiums. And can that now lead to increases? We've seen supply shortages. Nando's are the latest report issues with their factories and supply shortages. We're seeing it very difficult for employment. Employers are having to pay over the odds to get to hire even unqualified staff, and this is all having an impact on inflation. So like we said, we can see that behavior coming out. People have more money in their pockets than they've had before, and that naturally will feed through into the inflation figures. So that's what we're waiting to see here. Obviously, naturally, the US will give us an indication beforehand, so it'll be interesting to see where their next CPI reading comes in. Have they hit that inflection point, and are we now on the way down? Let's go back to that graph so you can see what I mean here. So almost what I'm saying here is we came up really sharply there. You can see, so we had the low reading there, Feb, March, April, steep again. And remember, this is the rate of change. This is the differential. May 2.1%, massive 2.4% in June. They were expecting it to trend up to 3%, but we've had an inflection point down. And this is interesting because I would have thought when July was when restrictions started to end, people started to get out. But maybe that was the crossover month. And that's why the August figure will be important. Are we going to come back up here and head towards 3%? Or are we actually inflecting down and starting to normalize around here? The last time we've seen, figures 3%, you'll be going back to 2012, March. And the last time we've seen 4% figures, you'll be looking at November 2011. So a 3% will definitely have an impact. and the monetary policy will need to get together and kind of decide on their interest rate hikes. What does this mean for you and I? What this means for you and I, if you're in the UK, is you, even now at 2% inflation, you can't be leaving your money in a bank account. The best you're going to get on a fixed savings is about 1.7% here in the UK in your bank account. So I highly recommend anything other than your emergency fund. Have a small cash emergency fund. And some people say 6 months. I like 3 months because I don't want to keep 6 months there. And then the rest, get them into investments. Get them into something which is going to give you more than 2%. If it's the S&P, that can track 5-6% per annum. If you want to put it in real estate, if you want to put it in cryptos, it all depends on your level of confidence and competence in investing and your experience. But leaving it in the bank account is just going to lead it to erode. I mean, at 1.7%, you're eroding 0.4% per annum if interest rates stay the same. If that starts to tick up to 3% and 4%, you'll be burning 2.5% per annum. Okay, so we don't want to be doing that. That would have a big impact on our savings. So there you go, guys. That's an update on the UK monetary policy and inflation rates. And we'll see you in the next one.